Hello, welcome to this tutorial on Java for Complete Beginners. My name is Ng. In the last tutorial, I showed you how to write an Hello World application in Java. So in this case, in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to use variable, how to declare and initialize a variable in Java. So let me go here and just go to the file menu and select this new, and let's create a new Java application. So you're going to give your application a name. In my case, I'm going to call this application project 002. You can call yours any name you want. Now right click on this project and let's create a class with a main method, and you're going to give your class a name. Let me call this variable. Now select this one right here so that Eclipse will automatically create a main method for you. Now Eclipse have created a class that has a main method. For now, don't worry about all these things, because I'm going to treat all these things as a separate course in the frequent tutorial. So this is my class, and the name of my class is a variable, and this is a method, a main method. Every program, for any Java application to run, the application must have a main method, which is this. So for now, don't worry about all these things. I'm going to treat them as separate topics. So in this tutorial, what we're going to look at is using variables in Java. So let me get rid of this. That is just a comment. I'll also teach you how to use comments in this subsequent tutorial. Now, a variable, the best way to describe a variable is like a box. In your house, you have a box where you keep your shoes, your clothes, your books, and some other files and data. That is how a variable is in Java programming language. A variable is a memory location, a name of a memory location that resides in the system memory. Now, it's a place where you store all kinds of data, just like in your real world, where you want to have a box for your shoe, a box where you store your shoe, and a box where you store your clothes. Also in programming language, you have a box where you store maybe integer value, a box where you store numbers, a box where you store fractions, number with fraction. That is how variable is. So let me just write this and you understand. Now, for you to declare a variable in Java, you first of all state the name, the type of the variable, followed by the name. Now let me just show you. Now, if you want to declare a variable of type integer, you say int, you give a space, then write the name of your variable, the name you want to call your variable. Now in my case, I want to call it my number, and end this statement with a semicolon. Always end your statement with a semicolon. If not, the Java compiler is going to show you error, like Eclipse is showing me error. If I just remove this thing right here, it's showing me error. So always end your statement with semicolon. Now, this is how to declare a variable. This is the type of my variable. It's of the type int. It means that it can hold only integer value, that is value without decimal point, just a whole number. It can only hold whole number. That is this type of my variable. Now this is the name I called my variable, just like in your house where you have your box and maybe you call your box shoe box. Now this box can hold, let's say this is a shoe, it can hold a type of data called shoe. It can only hold shoe. If you put clothes there, it cannot hold. That is how this thing is. It can only hold integer value. It cannot hold any other character. Now in this case I have declared this variable. This is how to declare a variable. Put the type of the variable. Now give your variable a name and end this statement with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and initialize this variable. Now for you to initialize a variable, you also use call out your variable my number and set it equals to any value you want. Let me, in this case I want to assign it a value of 10, then end this statement with semicolon. Also now what I've said here is that this variable my number is of the type integer. Now I have called this variable here my number and I've assigned a value of 10 using this equal sign to this variable. Now if you watch closely, find out that the first letter of this my number started with lower class letter. Then because this is two words, it is my and number, I joined two words together. Now in Java it is conventional to always start the name of a variable with lower case letter. Then if you're merging or joining two letters together, make your first letter must start with lower case letter, then followed by, maybe you can make the second word, which is this number, to be upper case letter. Now so this is how to declare a variable. Now I have also initialized this variable using assigning. Initialization means assigning a value to your variable. Now let's print out this variable. For you to print out, you use the word system beginning with capital letters. System.out.println. Now open a what do they call it again? Open a bracket. Now inside this bracket, just put in the name of your variable. In this case, the name of my variable is my number. Then I'll end this statement with a semicolon. Now what I've said here is that this variable here is of the type integer and it's going to hold a value 10. Now print this value for me. That is just what this statement means, to print out this value. Now let's save this thing and let's run this statement here, and let's get rid of this. Right click and run as Java application. Now if you watch, this statement has been, this guy right here, this statement, let me call it a guy here, has been outputted in the console by the Java compiler. Now what is happening here is that I initialize the variable here. So I declare the variable here, I initialize the variable, then I print out my variable using system.out.println. So if I run it again, so this is how to declare a variable and also initialize the variable. Then you can also print your variable. Now let me try and create another variable. Now this time let me create another variable and let me call it number 2. Now if you watch, in this first example, I first of all initialize I declared the variable, then I also initialize the variable. But in this case I am declaring and initializing the variable at the same line. Then this one, if you watch, this one and this one is a little bit more easier because you can just do everything in one line instead of declaring a variable separate and also coming to initialize a variable, you can just put your variable here, the type of the variable plus the name of the variable, then plus the initialization. Then I can also print out this one by using system beginning with capital letter. Mind you, Java is case sensitive, so all this reserve word must always start with their respective case letter. Now system dot out dot print ln, then open the bracket, then let me put my number 2 variable here and end this statement with a semicolon. Now if I print this thing here, it's gonna output the first one here, then and also the second variable which I've declared, which is this one, 36. Now so this is basically how to declare a variable. In the next tutorial, I'm going to teach you about data types, the different data types we have in Java, but this is just all you need to know about how to declare a variable and initialize a variable, or you can declare the variable here and initialize the variable at once. Now for you to output the variable you have declared, you use system.out.println, then open a bracket and put the variable you have declared in between the bracket. So and just end your statement, always end your statement with semicolon. Okay, so this is how to declare, initialize a variable and also print out the variable. So see you in my next tutorial.